Welcome, my loves. Knowledge Butterfly. As always, sending you guys out peace, blessings, love, and abundance. As you can see, it's a delay with this audio over and over again. With me dealing with my, I see what it did. Hold on a second, y'all. My speaker and my camera are not on the same frequency. So it's my microphone. Let's try that. See if that helps. Okay. All right. That seems better. A little bit better. So what's up? What's up? I'm in a recording video kind of mood. So, and I'm also working on following through on things, you know. So I want to shout out my sister, Queendom Divination. She turned me on to this beautiful queen who goes by the name of the greatest expression of love on Instagram, who's just real. That's a good word for it. Just allows herself to speak her mind and her heart, because we are in that time of speaking our mind and our heart. So I have been wanting to do a video for a while now, and since I've been becoming more open with sharing myself on my social medias, when I have family members on my Facebook and things of that nature, working on also promoting my business on my personal page and stuff, and just not really caring about what nobody else think, and realizing that, of course, the more and more open we are in sharing ourselves, the more and more our light shines, but also the more and more we let go of these weights that we holding on our shoulders. So a topic that I wanted to talk about for a while is sex, the sacred energy exchange. So let's talk about sex. However, I'm going to do it by talking about my own personal childhood as well, and then I'm going to tie it into this time that we living in, and why this divine feminine energy is rising right now, how everything is divine. I love saying that because it's the truth. Everything is divine. So first off, sex is a sacred energy exchange. The letter S is like a snake. All right, it's the serpent, it's the kundalini energy, which is the true orgasmic sex. That's the true orgasm, is when your kundalini rises. I think it was brother Dr. Alimo Bay. He was talking about how a true orgasm is all of your organs being included in the orgasm. And Spirit had showed me how orgasm and organs both have O-R-G-A in them. So that's telling you that an orgasm is supposed to involve your entire being, not just the lower extremities of your body. But we've been so conditioned to function in our lower chakras and live mainly in our root chakra of survival, fight or flight, and sensual pleasures, that we which is sensual pleasures, I mean the five senses, like how we dealing with 5G, is a clear sign of that. Is while we're going through the things that we're going through now, that's why sex has become so mechanical and so robotic and so and lacking feeling and heart and love in it, because love was taken out of the equation. And just again, being born in 1978, all that free love and stuff coming out of the 70s, and then wanted to push the quote unquote hippie movement. I talked about feminism and pushing feminism, so getting black women caught up in feminism and separating themselves from the black man, which is separating yourself. It's almost like dividing yourself in half. It's literally like dividing your brain in half, and it's taking us out of the fact that we are both masculine and feminine, and so we're lacking balance in the current life we're living in, and we're living that out. We see the world playing out that imbalance right now. So hold on, let me finish breaking down sex, y'all. So again, the serpent energy, the letter S. All right. So the letter E. The letter E is energy, of course. Energy is what? Electrical. So just like an electrical outlet, it's one behind me, but I'm not going to move the camera. I'm going to leave it since the audio is doing better. But an electrical outlet is shaped like a what? An E. So if you're looking at an electrical outlet and you look at the letter E, The letter E has these two openings, which are like the two things you plug into. And so what do you do when you have sex, right? You're plugging into an energy source, which is the woman. The man is plugging into the energy source of the woman. I'm just going to keep it as plain and simple as possible, not try to be too complex with it. That's literally what you're doing. So that's why outlets are actually shaped. Everything in this plane is shaped like some form of the body, and mainly phalluses and vaginas. It's mainly penises and vaginas all around us, okay? And representations of those symbols, doors, windows, all that's represented in the vagina. A portal, it's a doorway, it's a gateway, all right? The yoni is a gateway. And so that's dealing with the letter E. Even if you turn the letter E horizontal, and I'm talking about the uppercase E, you turn it horizontal, then you're looking at the smaller parts of the plugs. So you have as above, so below. You have the two slots. And then you also have two little plugs, or three little entry points within each one of those outlet parts of the plug, if I'm explaining it right. I'm just coming up with my own terminology because I don't know the exact terminology for these plugs, all right? So anywho's the letter X as an X-ray. I talked about X. I talked about X-men. We are X-men and women. I talked about this represents the divine feminine energy, and how this also represents the mother energy, the primordial energy, the fact that all men are actually born girls, and later on if they start to produce more of a particular hormone, I think it's androgen, then they start to take on more masculine characteristics or whatever. So that X is also dealing with it being an exchange. We're exchanging DNA. We're exchanging energy with one another. On an energetic level, we are exchanging more than what they're talking about fluids. That fluid is also energy. So we're actually downloading information from one another. So if this nigga is totally like fucked up in the head and he has all these addictive qualities and things of that nature, if one, it can activate those things within you that you've been suppressing, and you have alcoholism in your quote unquote DNA, and so now you've activated that within yourself. So that's why they say like, oh, he done drug her downhill, but no, that was really shit she had dormant in her, but he helped activate that because she been sleeping with him, whatever, and vice versa, because the woman has power. They don't tell you how powerful the woman is. Again, this goes with the suppression of the woman, and that's what they did back in the day, from the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. Because as soon as we got TV, that's when they started to program you to show you what a family's supposed to look like. But they showed you from a point of view of white people, and then black people, they gave us good times and shit. But anywho, I digress. So anywho's, you got your exchange going on, and you're exchanging DNA, you're exchanging information, you're exchanging data. Let you have a child, and I already talked about before in the past how the woman's yoni, how her womb is waters, it's sacred waters. And so the baby is swimming in those waters, and those waters are her emotions. They are her memories, all right? Mem means water in Hebrew. So, yeah, so you're taking on all of your mother's, her sadness, her hurt, her trauma, her pain, and you're taking it on as your own. It's becoming a part of your structure and your DNA code. It's being implanted and stamped and imprinted on you, and it's helping you develop your emotional body. All right, and also your mother and your father help you build your develop your mentality. So you're already taking on these things, and you're taking on all of these not only the things that your parents went through growing up, you're also taking on things that your parents are doing right now. So I was looking at the young lady, the Queen's page, the greatest expression of love, and she was talking about the generation being born into abusive sex and going back into the porn industry. So of course, if we all think back, we can think about how porn, even though sex is taboo in our households, our parents don't explain it to us. They don't teach us the birds and the bees. So of course we have to learn it. We learn it from other sources. We learned from porn. We learn from people around us who are quote unquote our friends, and we learn from the things we hear from our parents. Because I used to hear my parents, real shit. And I remember being a very early masturbator, and I got caught masturbating, and I remember being very, very embarrassed by that shit. You know what I'm saying? I even dealt with some other things. uncomfortable situations with family members, you know what I'm saying? And it was a younger person in my family, and she had a perverted sense of love, and or really of sex as well as oppression. And like I said, she had went through some things. So I won't tell her story, but I know she went through some things. So we've all seen, had family members who were molested or family members who went through things, and we look at them as adults and we say, what the fuck is wrong with them, instead of what the fuck really happened. It's classic R. Kelly shit. It's classic, you know, anybody who turns out to be a pedophile had to have had that done to themselves, or have that somewhere in their DNA in order to do something like that, more on a moral standpoint, right? So growing up with my family, my parents having a stash, mainly my father having a stash of porn on VHS, because again, this was during the 80s. And anytime you see anything dealing with black porn, it's normally, well, really any porn now, is really aggressive. It's really, it's almost very masculine. Not almost, it is very masculine. It's beat up the box. It's, you know, it's abusive. It's literally abusing a woman's, shout out brother Hank Rising son, a woman's crystal clitoris, her crystal palace, her crystal womb. You know what I'm saying? It's violating a sacred space, a holy space, because your yoni is holy, and we've gotten away from the holiness and revering and respecting the woman's sexuality, because it's been controlled or attempted to be controlled for so long, and we've been told how we're supposed to express it, and we don't even, in porno, you're not taught to express it in a loving way. You're taught to express it in an abusive way, and all of the music actually co-signs that, and it reiterates that point. So everything is telling you that sex is only a physical act, and it's not for the woman to enjoy it. Let a woman speak up and say and try to teach a man how to do it. He may not even want to do it no more, because you've turned him off, because you're actually teaching him how to respect your body and how to bring your body physical pleasure. You know what I'm saying? You're not, as a woman, you're not even told you're supposed to have physical pleasure with it, because it's not even explained to you what it really is. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's supposed to be a total experience. To be honest, for women are the ones who are the generators of this reality. We are the masterminds behind the craziness that we don't want to see no more, because we are tired of, our energy on the inside is tired of being minimized and suppressed and treated like you are the enemy, because it's been an all-out warfare on the divine feminine energy, and this energy is rising back with a vengeance. And I said before, you're getting a lot of segment and Kali Ma energy. You're getting a lot of that whole destroying this paradigm that we've been dealing with, because on a spiritual level, it is the rise of the Kundalini. So the Kali and the segment is representing the rise of the Kundalini energy of the earth, the rise of the Kundalini energy in the melanated females, and the rise of the Kundalini energy in the melanated people as a whole. Because as women start to expect and have a different sense of how they should be treated, and respecting yourself as who you truly are, the goddess that you truly are, then you have no choice but to raise what's going on right now in this collective conscious people, and in the collective unconscious. Because the people who are not aware, who are not conscious of what's really going on, the ones who are conscious of it, we're helping raise that frequency. So just being mindful that, being honest with yourself about how you view sex. I remember for me, I viewed it as me just having to be there, but not really be a participant of it. Most women are not participants in sex. You're just there. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I first started thinking this way, it was back in 2017 when I had got in another relationship, and I started to question, what am I really getting out of it? And so I started to be more aggressive in the sense of explaining what works for me. and not just being there and laying there being a blow up doll. You know what I'm saying? Not just because if a woman is not mentally stimulated, you can't stimulate, you know, her yoni. And so a lot of women are not mentally stimulated, yet they're allowing themselves to be fucked. For real shit. That's why I used to hate when niggas would say that. I got to the point I was like, no. I was like, make love. And that's because it used to be from a place of actually making love. A child was created from making love. Now a child is created from pornographic images that are in our psyche based upon the civilization that we're currently in, which is the lowest vibrational frequency of sex, because there are many different frequencies of every energy, and we just been vibrated at the lowest, sitting in that root chakra. So as more and more of us break free of our root chakra, admit to ourselves the images and the symbology that was put in our psyche and in our subconscious mind to make us act out these fucked up realities and keep making songs that are totally disrespectful to women and objectifying a woman instead of lifting her up. This is the end of that shit playing out, because now you have women who are quote unquote objectifying themselves and their sexuality on a physical end, on the surface level, is to take back their own sexuality and be the owners of their sexuality. On a spiritual sense, when you see something like that happen in the physical, you know what's happening on the spiritual sense. You know that there's a kundalini awakening. And like I talked about in my previous videos, even talking about corona, is that it is a spiritual attack on our kundalini energy. That's literally what this is about. So the first step is knowing what it's really about. And then the second thing is making sure that you're protecting yourself from it. You're protecting yourself from it. You're continuing to work on yourself. You're continuing to go inward. You're continuing to do exercises that cleanse your chakras, that reprogram your subconscious mind. You're continuously affirming who you are, and you're continuously working on yourself and not getting caught up in everything that's around you, because I call this a zoo. I call this a madhouse. I call this a lot of things, but this is literally like a movie playing out. That's why I had posted about the movie Contagion, because I was literally trying to show niggas this what they doing, y'all. This was already, they were showing you what they wanted you to do. So if you are acting out anywhere as this movie is, that means that you are caught up in the programming. If you are not, you know, raising your kundalini energy, if you are not connecting with your spouse and growing in yourselves and having sex, if you are so stressed, because they want you, when you stress, you can't have sex. And I keep saying that. If you are stressed and you feel the anxiety and fear, you can't get it up, men and women. You don't. Sex is on the bottom of your to-do list. So real shit. Our definition of sex has been warped. It has been tainted and perverted. Our parents their interpretation's was warped as well, because Black people are the keepers of all the secrets and the knowledge, you know. And so for us to not know that or not be in remembrance of what the real purpose of sex, besides creating life or children, we understand that we're always creating something with sex. It don't matter if a physical baby's coming out of it, you still creating something with it. So what are we creating? Are we creating, you know, this continued physical, mental, spiritual, emotional abuse on people? Are we perpetuating quote unquote rape culture on a spiritual end? or we get into the point where we're understanding that love has to come from there, and love starts with love of self first. If you don't love yourself, you will allow people to do anything to your earth suit. You allow people to totally abuse it and use you and abuse you, basically. And it's time out for that. It's time to love thyself. It's time to know thyself, and it's time to grow within thyself, you know, so that when you are with somebody and having sex with them, it is a complete and total higher vibrational energy. It'll be something that you never experienced before with anybody else. I know for me personally, I can't go backwards in that sense no more. I'm totally comfortable with who I am in that aspect and way. Where else as a child, I was made to feel like it was a bad thing, especially coming from a girl. They really made us not love our cycles, which we can do we can control people with our menstrual cycles. And we did we did stuff like that back in the day. You know what I'm saying? We can control how this world goes. That's how powerful we are. They wanted to take us out of our power, ladies. And it's time to come back into that remembrance of self and love yourself and love your fellow sisters. Big up your sisters who's speaking some real truth. Shout them out, you know what I'm saying, to the motherfucking heavens. You know, work with these goddesses, work with Kunti, work with Persephone, work with Kali, work with Sekhmet, work with all these warrior type of spirits, work with Diana, work with Freya, work with all of these goddess energies right now, work with Naga Kanya. Let me see if I can pull it up. We'll deal with this one. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I was looking at if you know, I know I reference cardology a lot. A lot of people don't know about it. I'm still teaching myself about it. But this is the spiritual spread. This is the way that the cards go in spirit, in a spiritual spread, which means that it's in order, starting with, this is the crown line, and this is starting from the aces, and then it goes down to the spades. So after you get through the last line, then you hit the crown line. All right. And this is the way it looks. It's in order, starting from the ace of hearts, going all the way to the king of spades, and the jokers are on the other side. And the mundane spread is different. So ace of hearts means new love, new babies, new beginnings, and things of that nature. You can actually look at this: new love, new baby, hugs, affectionate, loving, all of those things that when you start in a family and you having a baby, this is like supposed to be the baby's first card when they're born, experiencing that they were born in love, which is what sex is supposed to be. It's supposed to be an act of love, unconditional love. In the life spread, the mundane life spread, it starts with the 3 of hearts and not the ace of hearts. So the baby actually starts off with the 3 of hearts. The 3 of hearts is dealing with what? The Trinity that we always talking about, and we calling God, and we wanted to, like, you know, basically worship that Trinity, but it's telling us that we actually started off fighting an uphill battle. Because if you look at the 3 of hearts on Aquarius Maximus, it's talking about, it can be twins and multiple children. It's interracial relationships, an open relationship, and a fair emotional immaturity. Most of us were born with parents who are dealing with emotional immaturity. So that's being implanted in us as well. An inability to choose where to place one's affections or trust. How many people who can I trust but myself? How many people feel like that? You know what I'm saying? So this is the card that we starting with, instead of starting with the card dealing with loving yourself, you know what I'm saying, and being born out of love. So I wasn't trying to show that. What was I about to show y'all? I'm gonna move my camera real quick. It was something else I said I was gonna show y'all, and I got thrown off. It'll come back to me. I know that I was just talking about us getting into working with these different goddesses and uplifting the goddess energy, and we're in the time of the goddess energy. Oh, Naga Kanya. See, boom. Let's get it. This is Asia, y'all. I'm gonna talk about her real quick when I'm talking about sex. This is dealing with your Kundalini, y'all. I want y'all to focus on let's do mythology. I want y'all to focus on your kundalini. Focus on your consciousness. All right? We're just going to deal with it from here. Let's get into this mythos. It says, Naga Kanya, guardian goddess of the 3 realms. She looks dope, don't she? Naga Kanya, Niga Kanya, also known as Nag Kanya, a Nag Kanya, snake of the rainbow, snake of your motherfucking 7 chakras, daughter of the serpent, guardian of treasures. Where your treasures lie, all right? Benevolent goddess of the 3 realms. In Hindu mythology, Nagas are serpentine spirits who reside in the underworld. Where is your serpentine energy sitting? It's sitting in the underworld. All right. To me, I feel like we in the underworld. I feel like we are in the physical underworld. But anywho's, protecting and offering the teachings of the mother goddess. They are set to guard all esoteric and mystical teachings, offering them only to those who come humbly to receive. In turn, they offer protection and gifts to the seeker. So you need to fuck with Naga Kanya, y'all. The Nagas are also known as apsaras, or elemental nymphs. They call you nymphomaniacs, right? Who preside over both the natural world as well as the unseen. So this is dealing with the crossroads. This is connecting you from this physical world to the spiritual world. They are petitioned for weather-related blessings, and it is considered highly disrespectful to pollute environments in which they are said to live. So you got, when I say in Jamaica, you got a whole lot of niggas polluting the waters, throwing trash all kind of everywhere because niggas don't forgot that you connected to the motherfucking land too. The land is you and you are the motherfucking land. All right, this is another picture of her. You see she got her angel wings. There are 5 serpents at the top, so she's raised her five physical senses to a higher vibration. She has the balance right here within herself. Everything is like in the middle, and then you can see the serpent tail and everything. She's a serpent at the bottom, and then she has her wings as well. So a serpent with wings. It's the caduceus. Amongst these snake guardian elementals, Naga Kanya is queen. She stands out as a well-loved spiritual ally in the Eastern traditions of India, Nepal, and parts of China. And what are we dealing with right now? Where did this corona begin? Quote unquote, supposedly begin? China. So Naga Kanya is most often depicted as a woman with the lower body of a serpent, the torso of a human female, and bird wings, with hooded cobras presiding up above her crown and a conch shell in her hands, honey. So that conch is dealing with the yoni, dealing with the sea, dealing with the waters of the woman, of the divine feminine energy. Some stories and images depict her with 5 cobras, others with 7. So 5 is dealing with the 5 senses. The number 7 is dealing with your 7 chakras, and the number 9 is divine, honey. That's divinity. So the number of snakes above Naga Kanya's crown indicates one who has ascended a very high level of initiation, a fully activated kundalini energy. Before this corona happened, I had already gotten a download to deal with Naga Kanya. This was something I had never heard anybody talk about this goddess before. Not Bobby Hemming, not anybody. This was something that came to me through my research and dealing with myself. Is to start dealing with Naga Kanya, and shortly after that, I had a Kundalini rising. So in some mythological traditions, Naga Kanya is a singular goddess, but in others, Naga Kanya is a full tribe of serpent fairy beings. Most stories connect Naga Kanya with Lakshmi. I have been dealing with goddess Lakshmi. She's on my altar right now, the Hindu goddess of good fortune and abundance. Naga Kanya is also said to be a companion or ally of Vishnu. Unlike the other Nagas who fear being eaten by Garuda, Vishnu's mythical bird mount. In the Buddhist traditions, Naga Kanya is regarded as a tantric goddess and protector of Dharma. Again, getting back into loving sex. Tantric sex is really getting down to spiritual sex. Ancestors is calling for us. And when I say ancestors, I'm talking about us. Calling for us to get back into the true reason for sex, which is love. Unconditional love is supposed to be behind that. This is a primordial energy, and it's been abused and it's been neglected and it's been mistreated. And that's why we dealing with all this stuff. That's why all these child molesters, all this stuff is coming out on the news with these niggas getting caught for pedophilia and these sex rings and all that stuff like that, because Kundalini is rising and it burns shit up. It's literally burning up this motherfucker. People like to call this Babylon or whatever you want to call it, but whatever you want to call it, this shit is on fire. Just like the Amazons and stuff coming up in fire. This is the earth cleansing and ridding itself of this energy. And I talked about this before. This low vibrational energy got to go. You got to go somewhere. You can't stay here. Nobody really can stay here because everybody has to transition to your next level of existence. You know, however, this shit right here, where people are running around scared, spiritually, you're supposed to be applauding. You're supposed to be happy with what you see. When the Amazon was burning and stuff like that, I remember posting about something else was burning, but nobody was talking about that. It was one of the African countries or something like that. And then spirit, you know, basically scolded me. My spirit scolded me and said, you don't need to get involved in that. You don't need to get involved in that, because this is all spiritual before it even hits the physical reality. What you're seeing in this panic and this fear is because we are coming into a true pinnacle in this awakening process, in this journey, y'all. And so for the ones who are actually working on yourself, this is no need to fear anything, because everything is working out exactly how it's supposed to. That's why you have to stay focused on what's really important, and that's your spirit. Stay focused on walking in your true gifts. Whatever gifts you were given, start walking in those gifts and just stay faithful that everything's working out for you. You don't have to stress over anything. All right. So here's another image of Naga Kanya. All right. And if you look behind her, this actually to me looks like a yoni, like the opening of a yoni, and she's standing in front of it. She's kind of hovering over in front of it. And you just see how she looks totally balanced and she looks totally fucking unbothered. Real shit. I love it. I really love it. And then she also looks fruitful. It looks like everything around her is fruitful and it grows. All right. And remember I talked about the number 5. Oh, it's crazy because they said her crown, she normally have 5, 7, or 9 snakes. The 5 also, again, dealing with this whole 5G thing and them wanting you to only live by your 5 senses, because they are controlling your 5 senses. That's what they can control, your 5 senses. They cannot really control your spiritual senses when you activate them. So activate your spiritual senses, activate your Kundalini. And then the last part it says is, among devotees, Naga Kanya is said to bring enormous blessings, everything from prosperity, rain, friendship, romance, spiritual growth, and enlightenment, good opportunities, generosity, protection, wisdom, and support. Their power is so great that no temple can house them. Instead, they roam freely across the earth, giving their blessings wherever a humble home offering pleases them. Tap into this shit, y'all. Tap into these goddesses that I'm telling you about. I'm not about telling you about problems without giving you some solutions. You know, I'm giving you some things that I have been currently working with, and I'm telling you Naga Kanya does work, because that's another aspect of the goddess Lakshmi. Goddess Lakshmi is known for wealth, prosperity, and abundance, and all those beautiful things. However, she's also known as Naga Kanya, which is that divine feminine energy that's more along the lines of making shit happen. And it'll start to look like things are falling apart, but that's only because those things, that veil is falling apart. Kundalini rising, you can't, all that shit that's been going on, it can't keep going on. All these niggas who over here like getting over on women, that shit is done. It's a wrap. All of these niggas who are not being honest with women and who are not being honest with yourself, you got your heart locked down. I hate to tell you, but a woman about to break your heart. You about to go through some real shit where you're like, damn, I didn't think I could hurt. Because you've been trying to protect your heart, and you have to open up your heart in order to even go to the next level in spirituality. If your heart is still locked, this is spirit. All this going on right now is telling you it's time to start working on that. Get your foundation, get your first 3 houses in order that's dealing with this physical shit. Then let's start dealing with your heart chakra. I keep talking about this is balancing time. This is a balancing act. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. These goddesses, I can't tell you enough how I'm very, very thankful in my journey to even be catching these downloads. And I feel very blessed that I start working on these things right before something happened. You know what I'm saying? I can see things in the physical that I wanted to make happen. I'm like, well, shit, why that hasn't come into existence yet? But my focus has been on me. It's been on my subconscious mind. It's been on my heart. It's been on my sexuality and my womb and dealing with that. That's why so many women are dealing with the sacred womb right now. You got Queen of Fool over here talking about the womb, and all these women, you know, now understanding that we need to take our power back in the womb. But I'm telling you, it's so much more spiritual than even what you're really seeing. It's so much more spiritual than that. You are clearing the pathway in order for you to come back into your true power, your true superhuman abilities, your meta-human abilities. And this really is for anybody, male or female, who's actually, you know, been doing the work, because it's not just about, remember, in spirit, there's no such thing as gender. The soul is an androgynous being. It's neither female nor male. It is, like I tell everybody, it's that yin and yang. It's the white dot within the black dot, and the black dot with the white dot within the black portion of the circle, and then the black dot within the white portion of the circle. It's literally that. It's finding how everything is one. If that makes sense to me. It's finding the connection between everything and how everything is connected, how everything is one, and how all this lower vibrational frequency energy that's playing out right now is showing you how that shit right there is done for. That whole, when porn was at its highest, and you know niggas at home right now, just watching a whole bunch of porn, not really doing any internal work. You know what I'm saying? You know that there are some people that's doing that, but then you know there's others who are actually utilizing masturbation the way it's supposed to be utilized, which is to manifest what you want to manifest. All right? It has master in it for a reason. That word has master in it for a reason. And then ba means your soul. It's the way to master your soul in such a way that you are creating things outside of you. It's an action that you're doing which anything that's action to me is doing something outside of yourself. But it's being the inspiration and the actual, what's the word I'm looking for? The inspiration and because motivation is outside of yourself too. And the sincerity and the heart is coming from the inside. So it's a balancing of your imagination, your inspiration, because masturbation takes imagination, right? You have to visualize something, but it's having an intention behind it. See, these niggas just masturbating to ejaculate. Or to feel something better. Again, this is like a drug. It's just like a high. Sex is still a drug. It's everything on this planet I came to realize is being utilized as a drug, and that is physical food, that is sex, and that is alcohol, that is everything that you can exercise. That's everything. People turn it into a drug and a stimulant. They want to stimulate themselves, and then they got to bring themselves down so they can rest. So then they got to sedate themselves. So everybody has a vice. But when you start to realize that when you set an intention with everything that you do, so even through masturbation, you set a specific intention, ladies and gentlemen, of something you're trying to achieve. And speaking from a female's point of view, it is a powerful thing that when your visualizations are dealing with the things that you want to manifest in this existence versus just a physical visualization. When you get turned on just from the actual love of yourself and the love of wanting to create that love on the outside of you. Everything you're doing, you creating out of love. You can't lose. You are automatically a winner. You're automatically successful. Those are my definitions. That's another definition of success. You're an intentional creator. You not being a puppet. Your strings are not being pulled by a puppet master. Nigga, you are the puppet master. Nigga, you are the dream master. Nigga, you are the master manifester. All right, so yeah, that's what we're supposed to be using this energy for, guys. Whenever they are trying to give you this physical distraction, it's always something deeper they're trying to block. And I want this to be the last video that's dealing with 5G, and me just really talking about solutions and things that we should be doing right now during this time on a spiritual level. And that's what I'm going to stick with. So spiritually, working on getting your kundalini to raise. And that's if you can tell that your lower chakras are imbalanced. Your heart chakra, you've been working on that gateway's imbalance. You've been working on your throat chakra and your communication. You've been working on your third eye, your visualizations, and your crown chakra. You've been doing that work and putting in that work. Then you need to start dealing with these goddess energies so you can start stimulating your kundalini and stirring it up. Stir it up in my Bob Marley. Okay, stir that thing up, and then, you know, get it to rise to the top. So I'm going to end the video on that note, y'all, with this let's talk about sex. And what it truly means. And shit, I thought about the X too, because the X, like this or whatever, I talked about that too. Like the top is the vagina and the bottom can represent the phallus, because it's pointed up, like the symbol, that the triangle that's represents fire and represents the masculine energy, and the arrow pointing down represents the water or the feminine energy. So real shit is really talking about coming together as one and coming for a purpose. It's sex magic. All right. So start getting on your magic, y'all. Don't let this be where you so caught up in this shit that you're not really focused on what's important, and the spirituality over everything. All right, y'all. Peace.